We are surrounded by talent, creativity, and inspiration, and it is a joy to be introduced to people who are examples of all those traits. It's especially meaningful to me when I get to learn about activities and programs that I knew little or nothing about. Barbershop singing is one of those activities. I'm Tom Haley, and this is Bluegrass Region Voices and Views. In this episode, I talk with two members of the Kentuckians Chorus. This is the men's barbershop chorus of Central Kentucky. I sat down with their music director, Kris Olson, and with Chase Miller, a member who graduated from high school this year. I truly believe that this conversation will spark an interest in you to experience some in-person barbershop singing and the joy it brings. Sometimes people just want to have fun. Here's one way you can do that. The Kentuckians Chorus will be hosting a Youth in Harmony Festival on Saturday, November 18th here in Lexington. We'll cover the details about that here. Drop in on our conversation after I've asked Kris to tell us a little bit about himself.
So Lexington is my home. I was technically born in East Kentucky, in Pikeville, in Pike County, but I consider Lexington home because I've lived here for 20 years. My parents were from the Midwest. Dad was from Minnesota, mom's from Michigan, and Dad especially moved around a lot, being from a military family. So even though I was born in Pikeville, when Dad retired and we moved here in 2003, I'm very much a Lexington fanatic. I love Central Kentucky. Went to high school here, went to college here, and this is it's in my bones, in my blood. I have always been interested in music. I started studying guitar in high school, and my first college degree was from Transylvania University, and I studied guitar performance. And once I left there, or actually my last couple of years at Transy, I started singing with their a cappella group, started singing with their choirs, and I was bitten by the choral bug. And so after a little bit of time off from school, I decided that I wanted to go back to school and get my teaching certification in choral music education. So went to UK, which has a fabulous choral music program, and started studying with Dr. Jeff Johnson and Dr. Laurie Hetzel at UK, and got my bachelor's in music education, and got a job straight out of school teaching at George Rogers Clark High School in Winchester. So I teach choir there, as well as guitar and AP Music Theory and some other arts and humanities classes. And so that's my professional end of things. But as far as directing barbershop, my dad started singing with our local barbershop chorus, the Kentuckians Chorus, in 2007. I was still in college at the time, so it was hard for me to commit full-time as a member. So I sort of hung around. I would go to rehearsals every now and then. So it was a long courtship, you might say. And then in 2009, I finally became a member, started singing with them, going to barbershop events around the country. And about 2011 or so, I became the chorus's assistant director. We had a fabulous director at the time, a guy named John Nicholas, who saw a lot in me and asked me to become assistant. So I started going to summer workshops for directing barbershop. Obviously, I was able to apply a lot of what I learned in school as well, because there's a lot of overlap between traditional choral methods and barbershop. There are obviously some subtle differences in the style, but there was a lot from my academic background I could bring in. And then was assistant for a number of years. And then about 2 years ago, in the midst of the COVID era, John Nicholas retired and went to Florida. And so he passed the baton to me. So the chorus hired me back in 2021. So it's been a little over 2 years now. And it's been a wonderful time ever since, being the chief director of the chorus.
Wow. And you're in your mid-20s, I think?
Mid-30s, actually, although I appreciate that.
Yeah. I didn't mean 20s, actually.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s, okay.
35.
35, okay. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. Appreciate that. Chase, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I don't have as long of a story, but I was born here in in Lexington, obviously, but I've lived in Nicholasville, my whole life since I was 18. Went to middle school, high school, elementary school, and all those. But I got lucky and got Red Oak. I got the first one. I was like one of the first classes there, so everything was new and it was nice and I loved it. But right now, oddly enough, I'm studying for computer science at BCTC, and then I'm going to go get my bachelor's at EKU at some point. Um, Working full time, doing full time college. I'm at a barbershop quartet. I know we'll probably talk about it later, but from an event and stuff, me and the barbershop quartet formed together, and we've just been going at it ever since. I've had a lot of fun stuff in life to do with choir and theater and anything musical. I started singing back in 7th grade, I think was my first year singing. And we did Shrek in 8th grade, and I was one of the pigs. And then as a senior, we did Shrek again, and I was Shrek. So it was a kind of a nice wrap up to everything, I guess. But always been a big music fan and just getting through life, I guess, trying to have fun.
And you just graduated from high school, right?
Yes. Okay. Just graduated, and I think May 20th was our graduation.
Okay, super. Well, Kris, you mentioned barbershop quartet.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that just from the little bit of study that I've done, once we decided to do this segment, that there's a difference between a barbershop quartet and a barbershop choral group. And if you would go into some detail about that.
Right. Well, I can talk about what barbershop is in its simplest terms. So barbershop harmony has a few aspects to it, but some of the underlying basics are that it's a 4-part style of harmony singing. So you have 4 parts, often called the tenor, the lead, the baritone, and the bass. With a lot of choral music, the melody, the part that the layman might sing along with typically, is usually in the top voice. So for soprano, alto, tenor, bass styles of singing, usually it's the sopranos, the very top voice. With barbershop, one of the unique aspects about it, perhaps the unique aspect, is that the melody is in the second highest voice, what we might call the lead part. Might be analogous to tenor 2 in sorts of other ensembles. So that creates really interesting chord voicings, really tight voicings, because you have a harmony on top, and it's just structured in such a way that the chords are designed for maximum resonance, maximum ring, and it's really neat to have a harmony on top. And so there are characteristic chord progressions, there are characteristic chords, something called 7th chords, it's a very barbershop-y sound, not to get too theoretical with it, but there's a unique sound to it. So that is barbershop in its essence, 4-part a cappella music, where the melody is in the second highest voice, and then there are some other characteristic things as well. Through history, barbershop in its most original and pure form, you might say, has been sung by the quartet, the barbershop quartet. If you've ever seen The Music Man, that great musical, you've seen those scenes where the Board of Education is fighting and then Harold Hill teaches them how to sing about ice cream. That's 4 guys, and that's what a quartet is, the root of the word quartet, like 4 quarters in a football game. So 4 guys getting together to sing, one on a part, to harmonize. That is the barbershop quartet. One interesting thing that has evolved, especially through the mid-20th century, is the aspect of the barbershop chorus, which is you can sing the same harmonies, essentially, but instead of one on a part, you might have 2 or 3 or 4. And so there are barbershop choruses that are as big as 160 people. The Vocal Majority in Dallas, the Ambassadors of Harmony in St. Louis, the Masters of Harmony near Los Angeles. These are choruses with 150 plus members. But on the same, by the same token, you also have barbershop choruses that are 20 or 25 guys. The Kentuckians Chorus is about 30 members. And if the guys know their part and can sing it well, those chords can ring just as well as large choruses. There's a really fabulous chorus in the Los Angeles area called the Westminster Chorus, and they often have anywhere from 50 to 60 members, and they sing so in tune and it's so resonant that you would think there's 150 guys on stage by how well they sing. So there are different aspects to it. Obviously, because a chorus is larger, there's sort of the large group camaraderie aspect to it. The quartet, because it's 4 guys that you have to work with really intimately, there's a lot of trust involved with that. There is a certain intimacy. You get very close in that manner because you go and sing shows or sing on contests, and you spend a lot of time with those people. So there's some people really love the chorus aspect of it. Some people love the quartetting part of barbershop. And then there are, nerds who love all aspects of it. It's barbershop, and I just want to do it all. So they both have unique elements and then a lot of shared elements as well.
Thank you. Great. Would you like to add anything to that, Chase?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Well, you've sung with the quartet, and I'm sure we might get to it. But what's been your experience singing in a quartet with Fresh F?
Oh, God.
Where do you start?
Being in a quartet is probably the best thing that I think I've ever accomplished or done in my life. At least personally, that's how I see it. The world might see it differently, but that's me. It's always fun. Granted, because me and Jackson had been friends for about, I think, since 2nd grade. We'd been friends for a long time, but the other two, the lead and bass, Zach and Jaden, I met Zach in 6th grade, Jaden in like 7th or something. But that friendship, like Kris was talking about, from being in a quartet and working with them, because we used to do once a week, twice a week. It kind of varied. But the amount of time that you spend with those people, you get really close with them, and it feels like I've known all of them for 12 years, even though I haven't. But being in a quartet and going out and doing gigs and making people smile, especially more recently because we got into funnier stuff and like harder music, but just being able to make people smile with your best friends up on a stage is just something you can't get anywhere. I mean, you can't get it somewhere else, but barbershop's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
And the name of that quartet is
Fresh F.
Fresh F. And is that part of the Kentuckians group as well, or is it a separate?
In a way, I guess technically you're members of the chapter, but there's Fresh F is its own thing. I mean, we might have quartets from within the chapter. I don't know if you're all members. I don't know what Jaden's circumstance is.
I think for me, it was just while I was in school. I think, I forgot somebody sent me a text on Messenger, Eric, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just told him while I'm in school. It was kind of, oh, wait, no, Eric. He was texting me about Drew's chorus. I don't know. I think I meant to tell you that, but the rest of them, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Okay. And you all went to school together?
Oh, yeah. We all went to the same middle school and high school. Elementary schools were different, but
yeah.
And kind of college, because I do sing in the men's chorus at UK, so we have a class together in college, but yeah.
How often does Fresh F perform?
Ooh, that really just depends on who texts us and says, hey guys, you want to come sing? Usually once a month-ish. We don't do it too often, just where we're all busy. But in terms of rehearsal, it's once or twice a week. We usually do it after men's chorus.
Okay.
So just since we're all already up there, we just use UK's the Schmidt building, I think.
Yeah, the Schmidt Vocal Arts Center. I think it's called SVAC.
Okay.
If you're short on time.
We use their building for rehearsal sometimes. So
now, when you go out to perform, are you paid for those gigs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, surely.
I mean, sometimes we're not, but like, I don't care because I love barbershop and I don't care to go sing it for free, especially like for Kris. If Kris asked me to come sing for free, I'd be there.
Sure.
Good to know.
I got you.
Learn something important. So, how long will a set or whatever it's called, a performance, usually last?
When we first got our set together, we would tend to be around 30 minutes tops, but I think right now we could probably manage an hour to an hour and a half of music, I think. If you count Christmas, about an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
So,
what types of clients hire you or ask you to come in?
oh, we've had a lot of nursing homes. We've done a couple farmers markets in Wilmore.
Oh, outside.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They're fun. And then in Jessamine County at Rock Fence Park, they just built a stage in the Jessamine County Parks and Recs. They're starting to get more into renting spaces out for people to perform. So we'll sing there. We went up to I don't know the name of the town. It's like northeast. It's about 45 minutes, I think. We went up there and they were doing the city had like a big thing going on where they were like older city hall, the shops are just lined up.
Yeah.
And they had it kind of closed off and stuff, and they had us go around to all the shops participating and just sing.
Oh,
just
cool.
Pop in and out. And
Yeah.
we do a lot of stuff. It's a big range from, nursing homes to schools to wherever.
Just so that I don't forget to ask later, I want to go ahead and ask how can people contact Fresh F if they wanted to? You have a website or?
We have a Facebook page. It's just Fresh F Barbershop Quartet. And then we have an Instagram that I think is just Fresh F Official.
You still have a Gmail for the quartet?
Yeah, we have an email. It's just youngharmony234
Okay.
at gmail.com. I don't know why we made it that, but
That'll work. Well, I'll get that from you and put that in the show notes so people can contact you there. So well, it wouldn't take either of you long talking with me to realize how little I know about music. I mean, I doubt you have ever been with anyone who knows less about it than I do. I think I know what a cappella means, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you could tell us what's unique or different about a cappella compared to other types of choral music.
Sure. A cappella music basically means without instrumental accompaniment. So some a cappella groups that maybe people have heard of include Chanticleer or Pentatonics, Rockapella in the old Carmen Sandiego show. So there's a really rich history of it. A cappella music is very old. In fact, I think it's an Italian term that means in the style of the cathedral or in the style of the chapel. And because so much church music was originally done without instrumental accompaniment, if you want to think of like old Gregorian chants, or even many hymns or psalms were originally sung unaccompanied. So it's a tradition that survives to this day. The a cappella movement has really taken off in recent years thanks to shows like the Sing Off or Glee has done a lot to advance a cappella music. A cappella singing is really big on college campuses. It's like every college campus has to have like a million a cappella groups. That's certainly true of universities in our region. It's a very fun style of singing to mimic instruments. So again, I keep using this term intimacy, but there's an intimacy with the audience because it's just you, your voice, and the audience. No instruments around you to frack it up. It's also something that takes a lot of work and dedication because you don't just have a piano to lean on, so to speak. You have to know your part. And so there's a lot of challenge and a lot of reward in being able to sing a cappella music well. There's also particular ways you tune it to get maximum resonance and expansion of sound. And that takes a lot of work and ear training and tuning. And so there's a lot of pride involved in it. A cappella music is pure fun, but there's a lot of pride and excitement out of doing it well.
Mm-hmm. Do you do some singing other than a cappella, Chase?
The only thing I can really count that I do that isn't a cappella would be musical theater. Because, I mean, just about everything is accompanied by something. I can say it is a lot easier to sing music that is accompanied by something as opposed to just a cappella. It's a lot, easier.
Well, so you mentioned that you're the Kentuckians Chorus has typically about 30 members. Who makes up the membership? Where do these people come
So
from?
we have members from all over central Kentucky. We have folks from Lexington, but we have people drive in from Nicholasville, from Georgetown. We have people come from as far as Somerset and all over the place. And we're all united in this love of singing and love of barbershop. We are made up of all sorts of different professionals and often called Joe Barbershoppers, because we have people who are doctors and mechanics and retirees and people who work in IT and music teachers and everything in between. And that pluralism is one of the beautiful things about barbershop, is even though it takes a lot of work to do it well, anyone can do it if you have that dedication and that skill set to want to improve your ear and that love of singing. I love barbershop for that reason. There's such a reward and a joy when it's done well. But we have folks who, if you didn't know them otherwise and have no idea that Tuesday evenings, they're actually wonderful performers. And then on the weekends or in the summers when we do our shows, that they are thrilling audiences. So folks come from every walk of life to sing this style that gives people so much joy. And I think Chase hit the nail on the head when he talked about seeing audiences smile when you sing this particular style of music. This is something I noticed when I was talking with our chorus about some of the great examples of barbershop harmony in media throughout history. You think of The Music Man, but The Simpsons had an episode where Homer sang in a barbershop quartet. Family Guy has alluded to it. Cheers had a quartet called the 139th Street Quartet that was on that show back in the 80s. And one of the things about each of those instances of a quartet appearing in media is the characters in the background, all the extras, everybody is so happy. Charlotte's Web is another example that comes to mind. I think Mr. Zuckerman's Pig, whatever the song is. Barbershop quartets are introduced in shows and movies to create a scene where people are happy. That's a remarkably powerful art form. That's the go-to for movie directors and movie writers. We want to make people happy in this scene. Let's get a barbershop quartet. Yeah. So it's amazing that people from every walk of life, Joe Barbershopper, has the capacity to make audiences smile, and that's maybe the reason I love it so much. It's both of those worlds. It's rewarding musically, but it's just so joyful and happy.
Yeah. And you practice on Tuesday evenings here in Lexington, is that right?
We rehearse Tuesday evenings from 7 to... Or practice, rehearse, not to... I don't want to be pretentious now. We rehearse from 7 to 9 p.m. at Crestwood Christian Church in Lexington. We like to say that every Tuesday is guest night. So people are always welcome to come and sing with us, or they can come and watch, or they can come and follow along with sheet music. They can bring friends. There's no skill level required, just to come and enjoy it. We welcome it. It's any time of year, whether we're gearing up for a show or not. We love, in fact, we very much enjoy hamming it up for guests. So if you need to get out of the house Tuesday evenings, then by all means, come to Crestwood Christian Church at 7 on Tuesdays.
7 p.m. on Tuesdays. Great. I will do that.
All right.
I should have done that already. But so do you have CDs for sale or anything like that?
We have some recordings on our website from some things we've done over the years. We've not done a lot of recording. I mean, we do a lot of live performing, and that's kind of where our bread has been buttered. That's one of the biggest joys of what we do. And I would encourage anyone who really wants to know barbershop to go see a show and really experience it live. Recordings are phenomenal, but hearing a barbershop chord tuned and feeling it tuned really well is an amazing experience. So, Yeah, I mean, we have a YouTube channel, we have a Facebook page. Obviously, we have our website, thekentuckians.org. So there are a lot of places to start to experience us and see videos about us. But perhaps a larger recording project might be in the offing
Sure.
at some point.
Well, I did look at your website, and I can fully understand what you're saying about needing to see it in person is
Yeah.
best, but see it even if it's on YouTube, because there is a movement aspect to it,
a visual aspect.
a visual aspect to it. You're not just standing stiff
Oh, yeah.
like a church choir might singing, a typical church choir. So that is very entertaining for what I saw on the website.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And our chorus in particular takes a lot of pride in that. One compliment or one remark we often hear from audience members after any given show is, "Boy, you all look like you're having a lot of fun." And we try to convey that. If the sound were turned off, it should still be a really exciting performance. And I think that's probably true. Well, it's not probably true. It is true for all barbershoppers, because there's such a performance aspect to it. It is essentially pop music. I mean, even though we keep talking about tuning and chords and differences between choral music, essentially it is a heightened form of pop music, and that was its origins. People were harmonizing the songs of the day in the late 1800s, early 20th century. So it is an everyman's art form, and it should be fun and having live faces and body movement. Chase was talking about comedy earlier. There's such a comedy element to barbershop. So if recordings are great, but if you want to experience barbershop, come see it live.
Yeah, that again, after watching a couple of the YouTube videos, I can fully even have outfits or not costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Help me out. The wardrobe.
Costumes will do it. Wardrobes, outfits, uniforms, some not so uniforms.
Okay. And
all of the above.
The songs themselves, are those, do those come from popular music, or where do you get the lyrics for what you're singing?
Well, often they are arrangements of existing songs, so it could be any given pop song. We've done everything from the Beatles to Randy Newman, Elton John, but there are traditional barbershop ballads that go back 100 years. There are folk songs. Music theater is a big part of barbershop. Again, it's more about the way it's arranged, the voicings, the chords, the way the melody is treated, more than it is what the song is. So barbershop is a style, not a set of songs. And so someone could write an original barbershop song. Our repertoire tends to be whatever our theme is for those shows coming up. So our summer shows have included everything from, we've done a cowboy theme. So the goal is to come up with a list of cowboy songs. So in the past, our director, John Nicholas, was a very prolific arranger. And so a lot of times he arranged our material, but we can find music from websites like barbershop.org. There are also arrangers who sell music through their own websites. So it's sort of whatever is needed. We did cowboy theme, a pirate theme, an America theme, out of this world, space songs. The road trip, last year we did a American road trip was the theme. And so songs like Oklahoma or Georgia on My Mind, New York, New York. So whatever is needed is sort of becomes the goal.
Yeah, so there are organizations that put together the lyrics that you can just download and
or the arrangements.
Arrangements. See, I don't know the terminology here. So you mentioned themes and so on. So what types of events do you perform at or for?
Yeah, so the Kentuckians Chorus is active year round. We don't even think in terms of a start and stop for different seasons. We sing all year round, and we have a summer show that we build up for. We typically do that at the Lexington Opera House. That's usually in June. We also have a Christmas show that we do every year in December. This year it's December 9th. And that often will have a theme as well. This year it's the colors of Christmas. So things like Blue Christmas, White Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and et cetera. So we, Frosty the Snowman mentions Parson Brown. So there's often a little bit of stretching that happens to get a song and a show theme. But we'll also do some collaborative events with schools in the area. There's something we do in Winchester called Chords for Clark. That is a collaboration with my students at GRC High School. We'll also, I know we'll talk about this a little bit later, something called Youth in Harmony. We perform at that. But we'll sing even at nursing homes in the area, retirement homes. We'll sing the national anthem at sporting events or other civic events. We usually sing at Keeneland twice a year at their spring or fall meets. So again, it helps that you have guys who really love to sing, because we are singing every month of the year. So it's the singing never stops. And then after a show, we'll go and do something called an afterglow, which is where we go to a restaurant, or we go have dinner for the after party, and we keep singing.
All 30 of you.
Yeah, all 30 of us, and our spouses are there, and family, and sometimes guests from the show will come. So even at the end of a show, the singing doesn't stop.
You're not done. That's amazing. That is amazing. So these Christmas shows you mentioned, are those at the Opera House?
Those, not typically. That has tended to vary, because a lot of times in the Christmas season, there's so much going on, so it's sort of whatever is available. This year, it's also at Crestwood Christian Church. They've been very good to us. We've started to host a few events there. We had our Christmas show there last year, and it was such a success. It was a lot of fun, really great crowd. And so we're going to be doing that again this year as well at Crestwood Christian.
That is fantastic. Well, I saw something on the website about a barbershop contest. What is that?
Well, I will.
And Chase, you jump in anytime you want here.
I'll talk a little bit I'll give you the nugget of what a barbershop contest is, and then I know that Chase can speak at length to this, because they've actually recently competed. So an interesting thing about barbershop is there is the communal aspect, singing in your hometown, doing shows, but there's also a contest aspect where different regions will put on, or different districts, I should say, will put on district quartet and chorus contests. And a lot of times those quartets and choruses can advance to sing at our international barbershop contest. And this is something that's been going on since 1938. It's that old that the international barbershop contest has been going on. These things happen at conventions. So there's district conventions. Kentucky is part of a district with Indiana. It's called the Cardinal District. And our most recent international contest was right here in Kentucky. Actually, it was in Louisville. But it can happen. It's happened all over the U.S. and Canada, even though it happens all over the world. But Fresh F recently competed, and Chase can probably go at length about what happens at a barbershop contest. And you sang with the Kentuckians at our contest last year, so you can probably talk a little bit about what it's like for a quartet and then a chorus contest, because they're completely different animals.
Yeah. So for the chorus contest, in terms of like warming up and everything, they're both kind of about the same, except I think it's harder to get 35 guys to wake up at 10 a.m. Than it is for just to get your quartet together. But for the beginning, I think they're mostly the same. You just have like a warm-up room, and then you have like I think it's called like a prep room or something. I think so.
Or the ready room.
Yeah. You have like a ready room that's like right before you go on. The difference that I felt between them is when I was with the chorus, I was ready to go. I was ready. I was happy. It was the same with my quartet, but with the chorus, when I walked out on stage, I was a little nervous, but I was like, we got this. And, one, that was great. That was really fun. It prepared me for what it's like to be on the stage, but I had a group of people, like a bigger group of people with me to kind of help calm nerves, and, it prepared me for what I should expect with a quartet in terms of just judges looking at you and stuff, because they're not scary when you're saying hi at that like afterglow, but when they're sitting at their table, it's a little nerve-wracking. But with my quartet, we were ready to go, and as soon as we walked to the backstage door, all of us were just sweating.
Oh, really?
It was so nerve-wracking. And
this was their first time competing as well, which is a big deal. So their ceiling is only going up from here.
But yeah, it was our first time going out as a quartet, and we were going around, and you have to wait on, I believe it's 3 lights to go.
It's 2 lights because I've emceed a few contests. So the joke that I always made was 1 light means the quartet is coming by land, and then 2 they're coming by sea. And then you hear the big MC, "We are now ready for our next contestant representing the Lexington, Kentucky chapter, Fresh F." And it's one of the most supportive audiences in the world. I mean, you could go up there and crash and burn, and they will applaud
anyway
the heck out of you because people know what that's like, to sing in that fashion. But barbershoppers, even if you don't like barbershop, I think it's impossible not to like barbershoppers. It's a supportive community.
Well, I didn't understand the light reference.
Well, we got over to the side of the stage, and you have to wait for 2 lights before you can go out. It just basically means the judges are ready.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But the second that the second light came on, because it felt like we were waiting forever for it. It felt like years. But we walked out, and we were all just sweating and nervous and shaking, but everybody was cheering us on. I think I specifically heard Willard, which is the
Willard Atkins, a former president of our chorus, and then also the Cardinal District. So he's been really supportive of these guys, and he's a longtime member of our chorus.
Yeah, but I heard him out there cheering us on, and I heard some people from another younger quartet that actually disbanded a while back called Buck 50. They're around like 23 to 26, I think. But I heard them cheering us all on, and we started singing, and it was fun, but we were shaking a lot in our voices and everything. But we found out we did win the novice district champs. So novice is just anyone who, I don't know if it's the same rule with like 2 or more haven't competed, or if it's everybody, but it just basically means you've never competed before in anything except for a chorus. Apparently you can still compete in a chorus and win novice. But that was that. And then we put in old videos very stupidly for the varsity contest that was in internationals, which is 25 and under.
25 and under, yeah.
It's college basically, but we didn't get into it where we used some old videos, even though we sounded a lot better since we recorded those. But I mean, everybody who got in deserved to be there. They were all fantastic. But we're planning on recording something else to hopefully get in next year, which we can't complain too much because we have like 6 more years to do it. But we're going to try and do it next year. And this year, we're already signed up to compete at the full district championship, not just the novice one. So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, contests are a lot of fun. You go out, you're ready. You might be a little nervous, but once you walk off the stage, it's just the relief but happiness that you feel for the performance you just put on. So long as you gave it your all, sure, you might beat yourself up a little bit if you didn't do too good, but if you gave it your all, you're happy when you walk out of there. And the smile on everybody's faces, and even the judges, even if you're terrible, they're still going to look at you and smile at you, and they're going to support you because everybody's just there to have fun at the end of the day. And that's what I like about contests.
And how long is your song or your set or whatever that you do for a contest?
It varies between districts and internationals. Districts, you could only sing one day depending on the contest you're doing. It's just 2 songs. You could sing for 2 days, which is just 2 songs each day. And then if you're really good and you get into the top 10 at internationals, then you sing 2 songs on 3 different days. But you change your songs for each.
Okay.
So you can sing anywhere from 2 to 6, just depending on
how far you advance.
Yeah.
And a song is usually, 4 minutes long or something like that? I don't know.
They have some that range from as short as like 1 minute and 45 seconds. I think the longest one I've seen is probably, well, Midtown, the song they just did, Spider Farm, is like 12 minutes long. But before that, I think it was Mills Brothers, which is about 6 minutes. But I don't think that's contestable.
Okay.
So one thing that's groups going into contests often try to do, whether it's a singular round or multiple rounds, is their sets are often broken up into ballads and uptunes. So a ballad could be something like Mood Indigo or Once Upon a Time, a tender, slow tempo song like that. An uptune would be a faster, more rhythmic song, like Hello My Baby or Coney Island Baby or Chattanooga Choo Choo. So quicker songs. So quartets and choruses will try to break up their set that way. They'll present a ballad as well as an up-tempo song, and often called an uptune. And so that's sort of part of the tradition. Now, groups don't have to do that. They can go do 2 uptunes or they can do 2 ballads. But that variety or that contrast is what most groups try to shoot for.
Okay. Wow.
You said Once Upon a Time, and I heard Joe Conley singing it, and I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I heard it.
And that's an interesting thing, too, is because there are some songs that go back many decades that are traditions. You'll often hear at contest. But then other groups will often try to push the envelope by getting custom arrangements or doing songs that are not typically heard at contest. And so there's often that fine line of catering towards certain things that people are expecting to hear, but also thinking outside the box as well. So there's risk and reward in terms of your song selection.
Okay. Well, you referred a moment ago to the Barbershop Harmony Society and that there was a international, I think, convention in Louisville. Did you want to say anything else about that organization?
Oh, yeah. The Barbershop Harmony Society is an amazing organization. It is based in Nashville, and it has chapters from all over North America, but there are also affiliate chapters all over the world as well. For instance, in Scandinavia, you have the Society of Nordic Barbershop Singers, also known as SNOBs. There's also Barbershop in Germany, or Bing. There's the British Association of Barbershoppers, or BABS. So you're noticing a theme of a certain sense of humor, a certain oddity toward barbershoppers, and no matter the continent you're on. But barbershop extends as far as Japan or India. In South America, there are groups. It really is an international style. But once a year, there's something called the International Convention, and thousands and thousands of barbershoppers will come in from all over the world. Usually in the U.S. is where it's held because being an American style, at least where it was invented, this is still kind of the hub of barbershop. But there have been quartets from Sweden. New Zealand had a quartet that won a few years ago. Ringmasters was a famous quartet from Sweden that won in 2014, I want to say. So the style has become international. But once a year in the summer, there is an international convention, and there's a quartet contest, there's the youth quartet contest, there's the chorus contest, and in between times, there are people singing barbershop music informally and all sorts of presentations and classes you can attend. It's 6,000 or 7,000 a cappella singers under one roof, and you can imagine what that energy is like. It's incredible.
Do you happen to know where they had it in Louisville?
Yeah, it was the Yum Center was where the primary contest portion was, but then there's like a primary hotel where oftentimes they'll stay, and this time it was the Galt House.
Yeah.
So again, just like in between. Just like an afterglow after a show at the local level, people will hobnob at hotel lobbies or on street corners, and they'll say, "Hey, I've not seen you. How you doing? Let's sing a tag. Do you know your polecats?" This is all barbershop terminology, but there's just a lot of times these are people you've not seen in a year, and this is the only way you know them is through this art form. And it's like, hey, how you doing? Let's sing something. And it's really special for that reason.
Well, that'd have been a lot of fun for just a random guest to be at the Galt House.
Yeah, that's right.
During
yeah.
that would have
I think there were some, I don't know how quiet hours work for this sort of thing. Often there are, I think in the contracts that the Barbershop Harmony Society or local districts draw up with these hotels, there may be some
lax
stipulations
yeah.
because, we do want to be good stewards of any given hotel, and we want people to still like us and invite us back. So there's a fine line between sharing the joy of barbershop singing, but also not forcing it on unsympathetic ears.
Sure.
We had like 12 people in one room at the Galt House, and we were all singing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Some people in the front of the room where like the couches were, and then some were towards the bathroom, and then like me and 3 other people were in the bedroom in the back.
Yeah, that's on brand.
I felt bad for the 2 people.
Wow.
They might have loved it.
Hey, in the back room though, we kept it nice and mellow.
Good.
All the mellow
PG.
tags.
That was good. And I want to ask you later what a tag is, because I don't know. But first, so I believe we made this clear at the beginning, Kris, but I want to make sure we did. Your role is the director. Am I saying that right?
Music director.
Music director
of the Kentuckians Chorus.
Of the Kentuckians Chorus. So I'd like to get into a little bit who makes up the members. Mm-hmm. How do they prove to you, I suppose, or maybe there's a committee that they're qualified to participate as a full-fledged member? How does that work?
So while it is an every man's chorus, there is an audition to become a part of this chorus. One of the most important things is being able to match pitch and learn a part, because being very special harmonies, being able to sing a harmony and hold to it independently is the core of what we do. So to become a member of the chorus, there is a standard audition song we have called the Valentine's Medley. One of the things that we do as a chorus is we will sing Singing Valentines in February, and that's one of our favorite things we do. So come February, if it's February 13th, 14th, and you have procrastinated and you forgot to get something for your sweetheart, then go to thekentuckians.org and get a Singing Valentine from a quartet.
Wow.
But it's a very standard barbershop piece, and so the sheet music and also the learning tracks, there are MP3 learning tracks that are on our website. So whether you're a great sight reader or you like to learn by ear, no matter what your background is, there's a way for you to develop this skill set and to show that, to learn any given piece of music. So our website has both the sheet music and the tracks to learn this particular song. And after you have attended 3 rehearsals, because we want to see some commitment is you will sing along with a quartet for me as director. And it's something you don't necessarily have to do from memory, but the goal is to sing your part accurately with the quartet around you. And we'll do that at break time or right before or after rehearsals, just someplace where we can go alone. Every now and then you'll have someone who will say, hey, I really love this other piece of repertoire you all are doing. Can I sing that for my audition piece? And that's great. The Valentine's Medley is just the most standard one because it's very barbershoppy. There's some characteristic chords and sounds to it that are good to know if you're a barbershopper. So, but yeah, that's the audition process is learn one of our songs and sing it in a quartet.
Great. Okay. And we keep referring to men being in the group, but I think I saw on your website that there are women's barbershop groups as well around the world.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, especially because of, again, the proliferation of barbershop through media. There has often been this misconception that barbershop is about male singers, and that just isn't true. Because there are wonderful women's groups, there are wonderful mixed groups. So there are SSAA, so soprano, soprano, alto, alto. There's TTBB groups, tenor, tenor, bass, bass. There's also SATB groups, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. The most important thing is, are you singing the right notes and ringing the heck out of it? That is barbershop. There are fabulous organizations devoted to women's barbershops, such as Sweet Adeline's International, and then Harmony Inc. is another one. But one of the coolest things that happened about 4 years ago is the Barbershop Harmony Society, which had previously been an all-male organization, decided that they were going to do something called the Everyone in Harmony Initiative. And so anyone, regardless of gender or voice type, can be a member of that organization, and you can sing on contests and have all the rights of being a full-fledged member. There are still men's choruses, and there are women's choruses and mixed choruses, but anyone who joins the BHS now has so many options. And along with that, with SSAA Barbershop or SATB Barbershop, oftentimes it's maybe in a different key or it's revoiced, but it's still fun, it's still barbershop, and there's a place for you. No matter your voice type, no matter your gender, there's a home for you.
Great, thank you. And that's also true of age as well, place, because you have Youth in Harmony, and I know that, Chase, you're involved with that. So how old are you now?
I'm 18 right
18,
now.
okay. You just graduated from high school. So tell us about Youth in Harmony.
So when I was a freshman in high school, my choir director, we always called him D. His name's Demetrius, but we always called him D, or Mr. Walker. But he pulled us out of, it was either out of class to like right before, after, during something. He pulled us to the side and gave us this little permission slip. I don't know why we had to sign a permission slip, because I think it was on a Saturday anyway. But he told us about it. I can't remember if Kris either emailed him or just sent him a paper. But he told us about a thing called Youth in Harmony going on. And I'm going to be honest, up until the point that I walked into the doors late, per usual, I didn't know that it was for barbershop. I thought we were just going to sing like choral music or something, if I'm being completely honest. But I walked in and I was like, wait a minute, that's not regular choral music. And at first, just for a couple seconds, I was like, what is this? But I got up on stage and then tried to sit with the leads, because, I was singing tenor and choir at the time. But everybody was like, no, go over to baritone, go over. They were like pushing me towards the worst part you can have. It's the best part, but it's the worst part.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually harder than every other part. Yeah. But I got up there, we were singing and learning. We did The Lion Sleeps Tonight. I'm going to remember this. Orally, or was that just the tag?
I think we did the full song. We
did that and then something else. I can't really remember. But we started learning it, and it was weird at first because I didn't really understand the chords. I never really listened to music that had those kinds of chords in it, that progression. But at some point, we broke off into groups. We all started learning our stuff, and I had no clue who the guy was at the time. But Aaron Hughes was teaching the baritones, all of the parts, in another room, and I just thought he was some random guy who just sang barbershop, which I don't even think at that point I knew that it was barbershop. I was just like, okay, it's a song. But he was teaching us the part, and then we had a little break or something, and we went back into the auditorium to get the student show, because we did do two, right? Like you all performed for the students, and then
something like that, yeah.
But they had like a student performance. I can't remember if it was just Forefront, which is a quartet that won internationals in 2016. And yeah. And they performed a bunch of stuff, and then that was the first time that I heard those chords just clicking and ringing, because they're a phenomenal quartet. But
gold medal quartet is something else.
Yeah. But
amazing.
I heard them singing, and I was just like, wow. Because it's not just hearing. I mean, yeah, you hear it and you see their amazing performance. But when it's live, you can feel it. Like, you feel the chords that they're singing. And when international champions performed, what I've come to learn is if they want you to cry, they can probably make you cry. Like their performances are just amazing. But I heard that, and then that's when I realized, yeah, this is something that I'd want to do. Granted, we were terrible at it, but me and all the boys, we went over to a little corner because they had a tag competition, which a tag is just the ending of a song. Usually it's marked somewhere in the music, but more than half the time people just pick a spot and they're like, all right, let's sing the tag.
Okay.
But I believe we sang a tag called Back in My Hometown. And I cannot get one note right for the life of me. But we went up on stage at the tag contest and we gave it our all. It sounded, I don't even know how it sounded. I don't even want to know. But we gave it our all and we won the little tag contest and we felt, I mean, just really good about it. And it was just fun getting up there with just three of my friends and singing and hearing this style of music. It was, it was something else, but also nice to work with people who are famous in that style, I guess, and you don't really know they're famous. So you can kind of talk to them and learn from them, and you're just like, yeah, that's cool. But I know when we first went to one of our internationals, my buddy Jackson was walking up to them like he was scared, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, just hearing that style of music for the first time, especially being someone who's younger and has time to get into it, because anyone who has seen people at barbershop conventions when you're younger, sometimes they're like, oh, I'm envious of you or something because, they wish they had started sooner.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And
you hear that a lot from guys, which is, boy, I wish I had found this sooner.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was really fun. We had some really good pizza. We had some really good singing. And it's something I won't forget. Yeah. It was, I can say life-changing. It was.
Wow.
It was.
Well, what is the age range for youth in Harmony?
I think it's more targeted for high schoolers, but I mean, I would assume if you're like 18, I mean, you can probably go.
In general, when we started this event in 2012, the idea was that it catered toward high school age singers, and at the time it was a men's event. Because getting men involved in choir in high school is often a hard task. And so as the Kentuckians Chorus, we used our network, we used our resources and our background with barbershop to use it as another tool for barbershoppers. So we have often targeted high school age singers, but if you have avid middle school singers, we welcome them. But we've also had guys at 18 to early 20s who are still youngish, but love the style and perhaps are new to it and are eager to learn from high-achieving barbershoppers from around the country. Even though we started this as a men's event, this fall, this is going to be our first Youth in Harmony workshop since COVID happened. So actually the last one we had, 2019, was when Fresh F attended and got their start. It is hard to believe that we're going on 4 years now, but COVID did weird things. And this particular workshop, this is going to be our first time as an all voices event. So we're going to have an SSAA group, we're going to have a TTBB group, and they're also going to come together and learn one song of an SATB style. So it's kind of a new paradigm for us. We're getting to the point where lots of people, regardless of voice type, are asking, can I be a part of this? And we decided post-COVID, like when a lot of organizations are rethinking how they do things, we figured this was the right time to make this an all voices event. So it's new and exciting territory for us.
And that's the workshops that are held here in Lexington.
That's right. We this is a free workshop that the Kentuckians organizes, free for the students, I should say, not for us. Thanks to the support of a lot of arts organizations and other organizations that give grants, from LexArts to, at one time, the Harmony Foundation, and just some other local donors. We've been able to, and then also the Kentuckians Chorus puts in a lot of money as well. We've been able to provide this as a gift, essentially, to young singers and their choral directors. And so they come and they get the music that day, and through sectional rehearsals and larger rehearsals, they learn these barbershop arrangements in the span of a day and present it at a concert that afternoon. And so it's a very low key, fun event that we, at minimum, we hope they learn about a new style of music. But then the goal of all goals is what Chase was talking about, which is you could change someone's life by introducing them to this new style of music.
And that's, I need to say now, I should have said this earlier, that's really the main reason that we're getting together when we are for this episode that will come out at the end of September, because this workshop will be here before you know it. That's right. On Saturday, November the 18th.
That's right.
Here in Lexington. And I really want to emphasize the name of the event. It's the Youth in Harmony Festival.
That's right.
And there are two events. There's one in the morning, which I think is the workshop, and then a performance in the afternoon. Do you know the times right off the top of your head of those?
So the workshop portion that students attend starts at 9:30 a.m., and the kids are in rehearsals throughout the day. And then there's a public performance at 3:30 p.m. at Crestwood Christian Church. So the whole event is at Crestwood Christian. So it's a pretty short event for the kids, especially for learning 3 pieces of music in a day. It's just a few hours. You don't have a lot of time, but teachers especially appreciate it. They're giving up a Saturday to come do that, and we found that we want to give them just enough. We want to give the kids just enough to take the ball and run with it, and to want to do more. So they come in, they start rehearsing at 9:30. At 3:30, there's the public performance, and that's also free for the public. And that features our chorus, some of our guest performers, the students themselves performing the music that they've learned that day. Mm-hmm. So it's a very heartwarming event for that reason, because the public gets to see kids doing an act of creativity and joy.
And the performance starts at 3:30 and goes until when?
It's probably an hour tops, 3:30 to 4:30. Okay. Is a good guess.
Great. Again, that'll be in the show notes on the website. Well, we've talked about a lot. Is there anything that that y'all would like to talk about that I failed to bring up?
I would just say that this is a corny thing, but for barbershop, you come for the music, but you stay for the people. Speaking for myself personally, my family and then my wife and I, there've been a lot of things that our family has had to deal with in the past few months. And one of the first moments of healing for something that I've been going through this summer was a Tuesday night. It was a rehearsal that, I'm just, something's not going really well, and I just don't know if I'm up for this rehearsal. And I left there feeling so much better. It was my first instance in a while of some healing. And I know that is the case for so many of our members. Whatever people are anxious about, whatever people are worried about, from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. It's, to use another Cheers reference, it's where everybody knows your name. I leave Tuesday nights energized. I leave Tuesday nights happy. Literally a song in my heart. Sometimes it's hard to get to sleep afterward because I'm still so fired up from rehearsal. Yeah. And I'm dragging the next morning at work. So there is so much happiness with this style of music. And even if you don't think you're a singer, I highly encourage people to just come and hear it and come and experience it, whether it's at a rehearsal or to come see a show from a chorus or a great quartet like Fresh F, because it will make you so happy. And now more than ever, we need it. We have social media and phones that sometimes give us the illusion of having a tight circle of friends. If you have 2,000 friends on Facebook, boy, I must be really connected. But it's a mirage a lot of times. And so that having that kind of circle of friends and connection is really special. And to do it while creating music, especially a fun style like barbershop, is something else. So no matter who you are, come try it out. And it might be just what you need to be whole again.
Wow. I should end the podcast there, but I do have this tradition of these Bluegrass region highlight questions that my listeners have come to want, and we're just going to do one of them, and that is, what is a favorite coffee shop or restaurant in the Bluegrass state of Kentucky? It can be anywhere in Kentucky that you like to go to yourself, or maybe if you had an out-of-town guest coming in, you wanted to take them someplace to show off our local culture. Chase, start with you.
Oh, gosh. Can I answer for both, the coffee shop and a restaurant?
Absolutely.
All right. So for coffee shop, it's either, I'm going to be honest, I haven't been to many, but it's either tied between the one on 27 where the Enterprise car rental place used to be. It's almost across the street from Toyota on Nicholasville. There's a little coffee shop in like a strip mall. Or the one downtown on Main Street. I can't think of the name of it, but it's right next to the courthouse in Nicholasville, and it's really good. In terms of restaurant, I forgot what it's called. It's like something that. Well, no, that place isn't. I got this. I'll come back to it on the restaurant. Come on.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
You can save me.
All right. Chris?
Well, as far as a favorite coffee shop, I think 3rd Street stuff is one of my favorite. I started going there when I was at Transy, and it's just across the street. So I live a little farther away from it now, so I don't get to 3rd Street stuff often. I live near the Hamburg area right now, so that's Drake's and Harry's is just down the road. So I guess that's my go-to restaurant, but that's a very Lexington thing.
Sure.
People watching sports there. There's plenty of yuppies.
Yeah.
So it's I guess that's my go-to.
That'll work. Great. Thank you. And Chase, maybe you can look those up and email them to me, the exact names of those locations, and I can put that in the closing or the show notes.
I guess I have to agree with Drake's because my girlfriend works there and she gets like a 40 or 50% off.
And many of our guys after Tuesday rehearsals will go and eat and sing at the Drake's on Tates Creek Road. So I think we have a few votes for Drake's here.
Yeah, and actually sing there. That's pretty cool. Well, I appreciate both of you so much for coming to my studio here in my home in Lexington and being on this episode of Bluegrass Region Voices and Views, again with the main goal being to educate people about what barbershop is, and especially to promote the Youth in Harmony Festival coming up on Saturday, November the 18th. And information about how to get more information about that will be in the show notes. So, Kris, Chase, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
All right. Good times.
I enjoy being around positive and talented people, so I've had an inspiring time taping this podcast. Consider putting the Youth in Harmony Festival on your calendar. It's on Saturday, November 18, 2023, at the Crestwood Christian Church in Lexington, Kentucky. The workshop for youth begins at 9:30 a.m. and the concert for the public begins at 3:30 p.m. You can learn more at the Kentuckians website at www.thekentuckians.org and click on the News and Events tab. Links, pictures, and video are on my website at www.bluegrassregionvoicesandviews.com/barbershop. Thanks for listening.